an assembly of a typical drive. An assembly of a typical drive. You have a motor here, an electric motor here. Then you have, next to that, you have the belt one, the belt drive. Then from there, you have a gearbox. Okay? From the belt drive, you have a what? The gearbox. And from the gearbox, you have a coupling. Okay? You have a what? You have a coupling. Then the coupling leads to some bearings here and another coupling here. Okay? And then down on that side, you have the transmission one, the transmission system of bevel gears. You have bevel gears there, you have bevel gears here. So power, which eventually give power to this shaft here. So you put in power here, okay, and you get it out at this shaft. You get it out at this one, at this shaft. You could actually get it even anywhere else. As long as it has come in here, you could start tapping it off from there, for example. You could start tapping it off from there. You could tap it off from that other shaft. You could tap off from this shaft in this section, or you could tap off power from this one, from this end. So you put it in here, but then along the way, along the shafts, you can tap off the power. You get it? Huh? People at the back, huh? My daughter there. Are you able to see these things here? Huh? All of them? Okay. So, now, this is the typical transmission system. Of course, here we don't have the things it is driving. You could be driving things here. You know, it could be typically a parking machine. Okay? You could be parking certain things here, for example. So you connect some things here which can do what? Which for parking. It could be a bottle filling machine, for instance. You could attach suitable mechanisms for bottle filling at this end. The point is that you need power at this point, or anywhere along these shafts. You need power anywhere along those shafts, and now you can tap off that power and take it to do whatever you do, whatever you want to do. Is that clear? Is that clear? Now this one here looks okay. It is already designed, so it looks simple. It looks what? Simple. It looks simple, it looks obvious. But I want you to understand that when you go to the field, it does not exist. This does not work. It's your job to bring it into existence. It's your job to bring it into what? Existence. Typically, in the field, what exists is the job that you are doing here. The job that you are doing here, or the job that you are doing there, or the job that you are doing at that point. That's what exists. Somebody wants, like, okay, I'll tell you now. My wife, who is in the medical world, for example, wants to start manufacturing some things. And she wants, so she assigns me she has assigned me that responsibility. Please, I want a machine to fill, to squeeze, and so on and so forth. So that's what exists in the lab. That's what exists in the field. You, the engineer, it's your job to translate that one. My wife, for example, she's not an engineer, but as I've told you, she's in the medical field. So she doesn't know these gears, motors, belt drives, chain drives. She has no shafts. She has no clue about it. So it's my job to translate that one into terms of a gearbox, motor, gear drive, chain drive, a clutch somewhere, and so on and so forth. You get it? Do you understand it? So that is in the field. Engineers are faced with problems which actually do not even look like engineering. The problems that we solve initially do not look like what? Like engineering. But then we translate those problems into engineering problems and design systems which will address those. So, yes, please.
Sir, is this a DC or AC motor?
That's an AC motor. That's why we have connected it. It's an AC single-phase motor, which has studied motors, as I told you at the end of the day, at the very end. Okay?
So if it was DC to why would you connect it?
No, if it was DC, I would just connect it to a power point, a power source here. I would connect it maybe to a source of DC power, maybe a battery or something like that. You get it? Or my favorite, a solar panel system. Solar panel system. That's my favorite. So if it was this, that's what it is. But this is an AC one. This is an AC single phase motor. We shall study those motors, and it will come back when we are studying motors. We'll see that because it is single phase, it has a funny member here called the capacitor and so on and so forth. But that's not for now. For now, all we are interested in is that power goes in here. The power is sourced from this motor here. It's transmitted through this belt, okay, to a gearbox. So this shaft here is the input to the what? To the gearbox. Okay? We studied gears the other week. You get me? So inside this fellow here, inside this chap, you have those gears that we studied. Okay? So the engineer has done, if you are asked, you will have gone through those spreadsheets. You get me? You have gone through those spreadsheets to produce what? Produce this gearbox. Then this is the output of the what? The gearbox, and then you have a coupling here. You have a coupling here, and then for which you can, or actually clutch. You have a clutch here. This is actually a clutch. You have a clutch here which you can disconnect. If we want, we can disconnect this side here from the power, from the power supply. Then we have a coupling here, okay? Which again we can use what to disconnect from this side here. Is that all right? Yes, sir.
So can you disconnect it while the thing's in operation?
Yeah, we are going to supply power.
No, I'm saying the joint, that coupling or clutch, can you disconnect it while it's in operation? Can you disconnect the two while it's in operation?
It depends. In this particular case, no.
Then is it not showing the clutch? Isn't the clutch defined as something that can disengage while the machine is in operation?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I don't know who gave you that definition. We are going to study practice.
What coupling?
No, there are several types of coupling. Okay? There are several types of coupling. So you have some which have jaws, okay? You have, this is the rigid one, okay? So this member here and this member here, they are tightly what? So this is the rigid coupling. So this shaft here and this shaft rotate as if they are what? They are one unit. Yeah. We are supposed to study each of these elements: the motor, the gearbox, the belt drive, the clutch, the bearings. Obviously, we will study the bearings. Fortunately, we have time for them. The coupling, and of course the gear, the rest. What is missing is a chain drive here. Normally, at the very end, you have a chain what? A chain drive, as we saw as we saw, here. Okay? At the very end, you normally have a chain drive which is moving slowly. The reason we normally have a chain drive there is that the job that you do there, is normally done at slow speed. It's normally done at what? At slow speed. And chains are very good at that. Low speed, there's low speed units, high torque, high transmission torque units. Yeah? You need a lot of force to, if I have, for example, boxes, if this thing here is packing boxes and moving boxes, I need a big force to move the boxes, but I need those boxes to move slowly. So normally we end up with, for the final drive, before you arrive at the final drive, you need to reduce, you need to be moving at very low speed, but providing very high work, very high torques, and very high. So basically that model there is exactly similar to what we have here. Except that probably haven't seen that happening. But it's very, very similar to what we have here. Okay? Yep. Now, there are different types. Of course, you notice that the obvious thing that you notice is that power goes in along this shaft and it's coming out along this shaft. So you have actually perpendicular what? You have perpendicular shafts which are not intersecting. If you look carefully, this shaft here is somewhere around here, and this shaft is somewhere up. So that should be indicative of what type of drive? A worm drive. That should be indicative of a worm drive. Because that's where you have the shafts, perpendicular shafts, but they are what? They are skewed to each other. They are skewed to each other. Bevel gears, for bevel gears, do you see them here? We have bevel gears here. Do you see the bevel gears? The bevel gears, the shaft would normally intersect. Do you see? This shaft here is coming like that. This shaft here is coming like that. You get it? Huh? Do you see? This shaft here, if we extended it, it would meet this one. If we extended this shaft here, it would meet what? It would meet this one. These two shafts here are still perpendicular to each other. Okay? This shaft and this shaft are perpendicular to each other. They are at 90 degrees apart. But they intersect. If we extended, they do what? They intersect. These ones here don't. These ones here don't. That shaft, if you extended it, you'll find that it is passing here, somewhere here. While this one here is up there. So that is indicative that those two shafts are skewed to each other. So though they are at 90 degrees, and therefore the likelihood in there is that you have a worm gear set. You have a worm gear set. Is that all right? Huh? Good question. Who asked this? What's your name?
Ngandu.
Who?
Ngandu.
Ngandu. Good. I'm sure you saved very many people. You want to clap for him? Okay. Right now, what we are studying is how do we design this member? How do we design this member? Okay? How do we design this drive here, this part? Last week we saw how to design this. So how do we design this? If you look carefully at this chap here, at this drive we are talking about, the belt drive, there are certain elements there. Okay? Obviously, you have the belt. Okay? So this belt will have to be designed for. We may not make it. In fact, this particular kind of belt we don't make. We do what? We normally buy. It is a standard. This one here, this V belt here is a standard what? It's a standard item which you must buy from suppliers. Which you must buy from what? From suppliers. You get it? But why do I buy this one? Do you see? And not this one. Are the two the same? Eh? Are the two the same? No. Remember, when Keke's wife says she wants some pharmaceuticals there, some medical products there, she does not what? She doesn't know this one.